Hey everyone, John here. In this video, I will show you how to connect your Gravity forms with Airtable and autofill your form fields using the live data. This is all thanks with API Connector add-on from GravityWP. If you're already using Gravity Forms, you know how flexible it is. But what if you could take it further, like dynamically pulling your data from your Airtable into your forms without custom coding? That's exactly what GravityWP helps you do. It extends Gravity Forms with simple but powerful tools like this API connector. So today I will guide you through a real-world setup using the Airtable. So let's go to my screen. So let's start with the Airtable. So I already created the base here with the fields like project name and project description. We are going to reference them later on our Gravity forms that we are going to create. So before we connect our Airtable to our Gravity forms, we need the three important things. The first one will be the base URL, the second one will be base ID and the table ID, and the third one will be the path or the personal access token. So where we are going to locate the URL or those three important things. So the first one will be the base URL. So just click your URL tab here, right? So your base URL will be https semicolon double dash or double slash airtable.com slash, right? So let me just copy this into my notepad and paste it to my notepad. In that way, I won't forget it later. So base URL, perfect. The next thing we're going to get is the base ID and the table ID. So base ID and table ID is always right next to the base URL. So basically, this is our base ID up until the slash, and the next one right next to it is the table ID. Okay, so let me copy this and paste it on my URL or on my notepad. Sorry. ID. Perfect. Now we're going to locate where we are going to get our path or the personal access token. So just go to your account on your Airtable. Go to your account here. Let's see. Now scroll down up until you see this Go to Developer Hub and click it. Click this Create Token so that we can create our personal access token. Okay, so click that. Now, so we are using a new base Airtable, and also we are going to create a new gravity form field or gravity forms. So we are going to create a new token right here. Just click it, and we're going to name it. So for the sake of this example, I will use project management token, right? And for the scopes, I will put data that records semicolon read as well as the data that records semicolon write. Perfect. And for the access, we are going to add our base Airtable here. So we are just indicating that this personal access token will give you an access to this specific base of your Airtable, right? So let me just find it here, and this is my base Airtable. Okay, I'm gonna click it and we're done. Create a token. So this is your path or the personal access token, and you need to copy it really quick because when you are going to click the done button in this tab, it won't show up completely. Alright, so let me show you that. Let me just copy paste my personal access token on my notepad. Okay, so path So I'm gonna click done. So here, as you can see, this is the token ID, and this is the token code that is just showing up. It is not complete, right? That's what I'm talking about earlier. So we're done with the Airtable. Let's move to our Gravity forms. So go to your WordPress, right? Then go to your forms and add a new form. This is a new form for our new Airtable. So add a new form. I will use blank form. Then for the form title, I'm going to name it as Project Management Form. Right? So click Create Blank Form. Okay. Just wait a second. Now we already created our Gravity form, but there's no fields in here yet. So what we are going to do is we will add this same field that we have on our Airtable. So on our Airtable we have project name and project description. Right? So I'm going to use single line text. I will use two for project name and project description, and I'm just going to label it project name and project description. Great. So click Save Form, and we need to preview if our form is already created. So let me check mine, and here we are. We already have our project management form. Now, in order to connect our Airtable to our Gravity form, we need to configure the API connector add-on from GravityWP, the API connection settings, and as well as the API feed settings. So let's start with API connection settings. So go to your WordPress again, then go to your forms and click settings right here, just like what I did. Then look for your API connector here. Since we created a new Gravity form and new Airtable, we will add a new API connection for it. So add a new API connection, and for API name, just name it whatever you like, whatever suits you. So for me, I will use Project Management API Airtable. Okay. And for slug, I'm just going to copy paste this and um, change all the capital letters into lower cases. Well, this is all based on your preference, whatever slug you wanted to use, but for my preference, I want to use this method. Alright, so for the base URL, we are going to copy and paste our base URL that we get earlier. So here's mine. Okay, but this is not the complete base URL that we are looking for, because we are indicating that we want the API of our Airtable base. So we are going to put api.airtable.com. Alright, so for the authentication method, we're going to use bearer token, and this is where we are going to put or place our personal access token. So let me find mine. Personal access token here. So it's already completed. We already filled up the form, so we're going to click the add new API connection. Perfect. So we already have our new API connection. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to configure our API feed settings. Alright, so go to your forms and click on the form that you just created. So in my case is project management form, and then hover on your settings and look for API connector. Perfect. So we need to create one because this is a new gravity form that we created. So create one. For your name, just add a name here, whatever suits you, okay? So in my case, I will use project management API feed, okay? And for API configuration, we will just look on the API connection settings that we configured earlier. So in my case, that will be project management API Airtable, okay? For the request method, we will use get because we are going to get the data on our Airtable to autofill our form fields, alright? And for the endpoint URL, we are going to put the base ID and the table ID here. But first, we need to put /v0. This will indicate the API feed settings that we are getting a data from the version 0 of the Airtable, right? Then add your base ID. Base ID and the table ID. Perfect. We already add our base ID and table ID. For the input type, we just leave it as regular field input. And for headers, we can just leave it blank because we are using the bearer token, right? And as for our query strings, we are going to put filter by formula. So we are going to formulate the value property, right? So select this field and add the custom value. Now, do this formula since we are getting the data from the project name, which is these, right? So we're going to put project name. Be careful on the letters or the lower or capital cases that you are going to put because this is a sensitive part of value property. Okay, so add in equal, then put it right here again, and then we're going to indicate that we are looking on autofilling our field, right, on the gravity forms. So look on your gravity form that you just created for the project name, okay? So we are getting the ID of this one. So project name semicolon, then the ID of the field, okay? So in my case that will be 1, then close it. Perfect. So for the target fields, we are going to indicate that we want to autofill our project description when we add a value on the project name that is matches to the Airtable's data, right? So target fields, we're going to target the project description, and for the key we're going to use records /0 /fields /project description, right? Now for API request trigger, we can just leave it on change of any map field, then save your settings. Perfect. Now since we already have the API connection and the API feed settings, we are going to test our gravity form. So let me preview it. Then keep in mind that we have a data here for project name, which is graphic design, and for project description is create a logo. So if I filled out our field for project name and I put graphic design, it should autofill the project description and says create a logo. Okay, so let's try it. Graphic design. Alright, it works. Since I filled out the form and the field of project name, I put graphic design in there. It auto populates the project description and puts create a logo. And that's it. With just a few steps, you've connected Airtable to Gravity Forms using the GravityWP API connector. It's a powerful way to bring the external data into your forms, perfect for inventory, CRM tools, project databases, and more. So if you want to get the API connector add-on, head over to gravitywp.com. I'll put it on the description. It's just $49 per year and you will get access to this and other powerful form enhancing tools. So thanks for watching. If this video helped you, give it a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what integrations you'd like to see next. Bye bye.